Welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and the Furious, we will review theatrical films and streaming delights you care about most. This week we're reviewing Hawkeye, Episode 3, titled Echoes, streaming now on Disney+. It's MCU time. Yes, it is. All right, I am your host, Doc Rotten, and joining me tonight are the greatest co-host on the planet, starting off with Chris Slattery, the Slattman. How you doing, sir?
Good. I'm sorry, but I have to go talk to my uncle now, and his giant pinky.
His giant pinky. There's something wrong about that, but that's awesome. Yes, also joining us is podcasting rock star and international cosplay queen, the one and only Vanessa. Vanessa, how are you?
I'm amazing, especially after this amazing episode.
Amazing. That's awesome. All right. And of course, each and every week we have the one and only award-winning filmmaker, Christopher G. Moore. How you doing, Christopher?
Doing good. Just got back from a car chase where the camera rotated on.
Tired.
Why haven't I seen it on the news yet?
Exactly. Because I live in the Marvel universe and there are no cops in the Marvel universe.
There aren't. There's none. Oh, but pin particles are everywhere.
Especially when big objects fall in the middle of a bridge. There's just a normal day in the non-cop Marvel universe.
Awesome.
This is like the what if there are no cops.
What if there were no
Marvel
cops?
Universe.
Oh, man.
They're busy.
They were. All right. I don't even know where to go with that. All right. So we're here to talk about Hawkeye Episode 3. We're going to start off with giving our first impressions, and that will be spoiler free, except for that we just spoiled There Are No Cops.
That's a spoiler.
It's the MCU. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows that. All right. Then we'll dive into full discussion. We're going to get into Easter eggs and cameos and speculation and all kinds of discussion. It's going to be a lot of fun, and then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Of course, if you are watching, we hope you enjoy not only this review but many others that we have on the site. And if you want to help us out, it's easy and free to do. Hit the subscribe button down below, hit the like button, and share with a friend. And of course, above all, we want to hear your comments. Leave some comments down below. We've been getting some great ones, and we thank you. All right, let's take a look at the show we're doing. We are doing Hawkeye, Season 1, Episode 3. I guess I'm being optimistic that we're going to get Season 2. Who knows? Aired December 1st, 2021, titled Echoes. It was directed by Bert and Bertie, written by Katrina, Mathewson, and Tanner Bean. Just Tanner Bean. I was going to give her another name or him another name. We'll just leave it right there. All right. The cast includes Jeremy Renner, Haley Stanfield, Vera Farmiga, Tony Dalton, Linda Cardellini, Vanessa. Help me with how you pronounce it. Alakwa Cox and Frafy. Frothy.
I think it's frothy.
Frothy.
I get that at Starbucks sometimes.
That's awesome. All right, so now see this. After escaping a new threat, Clint and Kate join forces against an expanding criminal, a conspiracy. Yes, that's what we're going to do. All right, let's dive into our first impressions. Slattman, sir, you are up first.
Yeah, so this is far and away like 10 times better than episodes 1 and 2, and episodes 1 and 2 were already pretty great. So
heaps of praise is coming.
Yeah,
heaps of praise.
I don't really know what other praise to give it. Like the chemistry with our two leads is excellent. The action was amazing. It's finally time that we got to see Hawkeye just do some cool Hawkeye shit.
He does cool Hawkeye shit.
And like I know that we got like hints of it in like in the Avengers movies, but this is really like just Hawkeye. Like you could just, it's amazing. Like it's like modern day Robin Hood. Like it's exactly what you want. Like, you know, pew pew pew. Like it's awesome. And the action was top notch. And once again, they did this very annoying thing where they ended it with an amazing cliffhanger that just makes me go, where's the next episode? I want it
Yes.
now.
Yes, we do need those amazing cliffhangers, and it's delivering. All right, up next is Vanessa. What was your first impression of Hawkeye episode 3?
Well, I missed the last episode, and I absolutely loved the first 2 episodes. I thought they were great. I knew I was going to love this show, but it really delivered. And I love, love, love. I'm sure y'all talked about this, but I love the Christmas theme. And I love that it's a countdown to Christmas with each episode as he's counting down to get home. It's just a Disney, man. They know what they're doing. But I was blown away by this episode. It is jam-packed with so many things, and it all works so well together while it's moving so quickly the whole time. And the little things that we get here and there, the trick arrows that we see along the way, it just so much fun. And I totally get what Chris is trying to convey with that feeling of we finally get to see Hawkeye be Hawkeye and do cool Hawkeye shit. Like I really feel that because Hawkeye and Natasha, they were the regular ones, right? They just did it with their bare hands and whatever tools they had with them. And it's really cool to see him just get to be like old and grumpy and kind of like tired from war and having to like dredge up all this stuff all over again because some girl got herself in trouble with his gear. Like I just love this story, and this episode just brings all that together so well. And seeing the 2 of them, that car chase that we will get into was amazing. You could see that in the Italian Job. Like it was so good.
And he gets to ride a unicorn. Stick around to find out what that meant. All right, Christopher Chambor, what was your first impression of Hawkeye episode 3?
Well, I think somebody had, I think I posted about it after I watched it on my Facebook, and somebody mentioned exactly how I'm feeling. This is sort of like what I thought Falcon and the Winter Soldier was going to be like. You know, it was going to be like this sort of like buddy action comedy. And this is fulfilling it 100%. This is Lethal Weapon Arrow style. This is like, and I think this 3rd episode is amped it up to where, for me, this is a perfect episode. The first 2 episodes had a lot of fun, but this one, you know, along with probably 2 of the best action scenes, I'd say, in the MCU. I'll say that because I think a lot of the MCU stuff really hasn't been as stylized, hasn't been as it's all a bunch of them fighting all kinds of stuff all over the place. And this one, you know, they put a lot of effort into the choreography and that kind of stuff of the action of the characters. That there's a lot of fun to it. There's Jackie Chan fighting stuff that happens in one part. There's an action scene that's almost like Children of Men. There's all these different things that like they show a sense of style, but there's also this bickering between the 2 that's so much fun. I can't say enough good things about it. And on top of that, we get some really great moments involving people with hearing disabilities from their point of view. And that's amazing to see. And also this actress who's in this, Maya, this is her first acting role. And she also is missing part of her leg as well. So this isn't like one of the things where they green screened her leg out.
Wow.
No, she's actually has a disability with her leg on top of also being deaf. So, and she's coming into this situation with all these, even the girl in it has been in a lot of movies so far in her life. But I think this episode, I think is hitting on every arrow. I don't know if that's a great way to say that, but instead of firing all cylinders, it's firing on all arrows
Hitting all targets.
It's hitting all targets. Every kind of target you think of when it comes to a fun action comedy. There's more great stuff in this than some of the best action comedies that come out in the last 10 years. This is really well done, and I can understand how people are enjoying it, loving it. yeah, and every episode you want to find out what happens next. So we have to wait another 7 days. But it's worth it because, and then at the same time, it's like, I want a million episodes if they're all going to be like this, because it keeps building. But yeah, I think this episode was amazing. I was smiling. The car chase scene blew my mind. I was like, this is a TV series? This action scene is better than some of the chase scenes I've seen in action films. This Red Notice feels crappy compared to this. the whole movie feels crappy compared to that one action scene. And I think that just shows you, when you put love into something and what you're creating, you're going to make a dish that everybody's going to enjoy. Yeah, this episode was amazing. I love Hawkeye. This third episode has sold me. Of course, let's hope that the rest of the episodes can live up to this. But for right now, I love it.
Yeah, I do too. And there's a lot to love about this. It really captures Hawkeye and the spirit. And I think that's what we're talking about, that he, he relies on, what did he say in like one of the Avengers movies? Yeah, I'm the guy with the arrows running around. He always knows his place, but I don't know, he has a really good chemistry here. And some of the dialogue between Jeremy Renner and Haley Stanfield, especially when they're in character and they're talking about Hawkeye being a role model or not. When we get to that part, it's really true, and he just doesn't realize it, right? He doesn't recognize it and stuff like that. So I guess I don't know if he's humble or not, but I guess he is in that respect. But he just kind of doesn't care at the same time, right? He's not about image. He doesn't want to wear the Hawkeye eyes. We'll get to that too. But there's a lot going on here. We get introduced to a couple of new characters. We get hints of other characters. We're still following the mystery, and our two leads are developing this wonderful sense of camaraderie and chemistry between them. And it's this. It's just really, really fun to watch, and really, they're lighthearted and there's stuff. And then plus, we get to see Hawkeye or Jeremy Renner have a sense of humor as Hawkeye, especially like through the dialogue when his hearing aid goes bad. So there's just so many things going on here. And on top of that, it's the direction by Bert and Bertie here is amazing. This feels so well just put together, organized. The storytelling is impeccable. The shots are surprising often. You always know where you are, and some of the action during the fight scenes is rather chaotic, but yet you get it right. You know what's happening and where, and I can't sing enough praises. This is really a top-notch episode, and it's probably one of the best episodes of the MCU on Disney Plus yet. I'm still of the opinion that Loki and WandaVision are a little bit more imaginative and original, but at the same time, this is just doing it right, and good job.
Well, but I think not everything has to be. You can't really be, overly imaginative, just because Loki and WandaVision were imaginative in their concept,
right?
So, but I don't think you can fault this for being great in what it needs to do.
Well, it certainly knows its place. I agree with you. It knows what it needs to do and do that. And I'm not faulting it for it. I'm just saying that, when you compare it to the others, there's a little bit more to compare. But this episode in particular is direction-wise,
because the other people have criticized Loki and WandaVision for just being
too out there.
Well, just being a great concept, but not delivering on that. So it's interesting. But I think that this is finding that sweet spot, And by the way, the Bert and Bertie, their actual names are Amber Tipplemore Finlayson and Katie Elwood. That's their actual names, but I guess
they just go by.
They go Bert and Bertie, which I
That's
just
cute.
kept expecting to be like Muppets show up or something.
Like the
But,
two old guys.
Stop! You're gonna get me wrong. I'm gonna
that's
make
what I'm
a
trying to do.
You're trying to steer me
Laying the
wrong,
trap
sir.
for ya.
Oh, you're planting the seeds of deception. Yeah. I've heard criticisms that it's too much the Kate show and not enough Clinton. You know, line of
Well,
Clint
there's
Barton, or
gonna
Clint
be
Barton, not
that.
Clinton, but Clint Barton. And I disagree with that. I think it's
Well,
I think
people do that. I mean, it's the Black Widow. It's more Yelena than it is.
yeah.
So I think no matter what, people are like, oh, they're focusing too much on that. It's like, just get over it. Just enjoy it. Stop trying to find reasons to criticize it and enjoy
Yeah.
the good parts of it. I think we live in a world now where they have to find something to pick apart or
Next
Yeah.
thing you know, people are going to be criticizing this new Spider-Man movie for focusing on the wrong Spider-Man.
Too many.
Stop!
You're probably right. I mean, you're probably
or
right.
focusing on the villain. I've heard already people like, oh, there are too many villains.
No way. No way.
I can't
The
wait
Batman
to talk
thing,
about
too
that.
many villains.
Can't wait to talk about that. Well, you know, Spider-Man 3 proved that too, but I think this one's going to be different. But anyway, back to Hawkeye. Okay, so first things first, I mentioned earlier Hawkeye on a unicorn, and I just want to say that having them on those two coin rides was flipping brilliant. That was so fun to watch, and the way Clint was just like so nonchalant, like okay, he's doing his version of Black Widow, you know,
Well,
waiting for them to
yeah.
give
He's not the funny guy. He's not the witty guy. He's just Clint, right? He's a
Mhm.
dad and he does his job and he's had to do stuff. And like, I just love that. It's a very odd couple between the two of them, you know, one way up, one way down all the time. And I love how he can carry that so well. And then, you know, talking about that scene and then what happens next and how badass he is in that fight and everything he does and how he moves. Like you don't expect him. I see him, I kind of expect him to be like moving like this because he's real beat up by everything. And then he just gets into that Hawkeye kind of mode and it's flawless. And I love seeing that.
Yeah, it's almost like muscle memory for him. He just knows
Yeah.
what to do.
Like,
Well, but-
I mean, specifically with the no-look shot, you know?
Oh, that
so
wasn't that
good.
great?
Yeah,
Oh.
which he did that in one of the Avengers movies where he killed one of the Chitauri or
It was
something,
the
or
first one.
he did that. But
Yeah. And
but
that's the shot that she sees from her house
yeah.
at the
But-
little
but the-
girl.
But the thing is, like, I think more than anything, you see more of that, the physicality of him, to where I keep saying Jackie Chan, but it feels very Jackie Chan because a lot of Jackie Chan's martial arts choreography is based around comedic stuff, used to the environment. I never thought a fight scene would involve him having to utilize a ball pit, you know?
Oh my God, yes, I
Yeah,
forgot.
like,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
that's wonderful.
because I was like, what's he gonna do with the ball pit? Oh, okay. You know, and if you pay attention, I mean, some of the arrows he's using are actually non-lethal arrows. He's just trying to disable them. He's not trying to kill anybody.
Yeah.
He's just trying to hit him in certain areas that can wound him but not kill them. And so he's just trying to get out of the situation and not try to kill anybody in the process. So, but yeah, I mean, there's like so many, there's even thing with like a grocery cart and stuff that she uses. There's all that stuff is there's a dance to it that feels much more, it feels more natural than anything I've seen in the MCU. Because I feel some of the stuff in the MCU is just like not even
Too
balletic.
choreographed?
Yeah, it's almost like too choreographed or too fast or something. There's not really anything that kind of beats to it that make it feel a progressive nature that you would see like Jackie Chan would do in one of his movies. And that's what I love about it, because I feel like they're actually they have limited budget, so at least they're putting an effort into the movements of these characters, or even the Maya character, which if we get into like some of the bits and the trivia things that I normally do, if you pay attention in the very beginning when she's a little girl, when she's written all these answers, one of the answers is I learned to play capoeira, which is actually a dancey form of martial arts, which she uses against him because she's doing all these flips and stuff like these people do in that form of martial arts. So they actually pay attention to those type of things and utilize physicality to that effect.
Yeah, and I think most people know that Maya goes by Echo. I don't know if she goes by Echo yet in the storyline, but she will become Echo. And of course, Echo is getting a series
Mm-hmm.
in late 22 or 23. So I'm excited that we're going to get more of this character. I already like her quite a bit.
Well, and again, another trivia bit in regards to that is like when her dad, we're already in Spoilerville, people.
We're in spoilers.
When her dad dies and puts his bloody handprint on her face, she wears a handprint on her face as part of her costume as Echo. So,
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if that.
To that.
Yeah, wonderful.
Maybe.
We'll get that by the end of the series. Okay, so there is. There's a lot of hints, right, to certain elements or characters. You know, Kazi is her right-hand man, so to speak, and he has an uncle, which I believe is her foster dad, right? The person that we see only from the shoulder down, that takes her in after her father dies, right? And Vanessa, do you know who the popular opinion is, who that character may be?
Mephisto.
How dare you?
Is it Stump Vanessa week? It's Stump Vanessa week.
No, I know who it is.
Okay.
I know that laugh. We've been rewatching Daredevil, so I know that's Kingpin. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever.
Are we all in agreement that we already have a Kingpin cameo?
Again, there's other trivial bits in the episode that kind of point to that even more so than just some fat fingers rubbing that girl's cheeks.
Well, the storyline has them in the background. So why don't we take that as a segue and go into all the Easter eggs and
tell us,
stuff.
Chris.
Well, if we want to get into the Kingpin things.
Mm-hmm.
The hotel that we saw in the previous episode, the Palace Hotel, is the same hotel Kingpin buys in the third season of Daredevil.
Woohoo. Okay.
Also, the auto repair shop is called Fat Man Auto Repair. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So
that's a little on the nose.
Yeah, a little bit. Also, when her dad is doing the shadow puppets, he does a dragon eating a hawk. So that's, and with her feeling that she's almost like a dragon in some ways, she feels kind of out of place. And then later on, she's gonna fight Hawkeye. See, we already said that. The red Charger that Kate wanted to use is actually the same car they used in the car chase in the comics. So it's kind of funny how they kind of throw you off
nice.
if you follow the comics. Also, the music that's playing during the car chase is, of course, different tracks from the Nutcracker, which is a Russian ballet, and they're being chased by Russians, so it's very apropos.
Yeah, bro.
And like I mentioned earlier, the camera's like in the middle of the car, and it keeps turning. Have you guys ever seen Children of Men? There's a famous one long shot in Children of Men where the camera pans, and what they do is they actually, if there's one of the promo videos online where they show the cutout roof of the car, so they have a camera placed in the middle of it. Now there's one part where she gets out of the car and she's shooting. If you notice, there's a little bit of a lens flare when that happens. So I'm thinking that's probably one of those cuts, those hidden cuts between going from inside the car to outside the car. But and I think some of the weapons, it almost feels like a mobile version of Home Alone to some degree, because he's using all these different arrows with different, almost like traps. The kids with that Macaulay Culkin used in Home Alone. And of course, if it's not obvious, there's an arrow with a PIM logo on it.
Yes.
Blue, which the blue means it creates something big. I don't know about you guys. I was like, I laughed gleefully and clapped in that moment. I feel like this should have been something we watched in a theater, because I could see everybody in the audience when they see that thing, and you see that. But then I was thinking, God, What are they gonna do to clean up a big ass arrow?
I guess
They are
eventually
not.
maybe it'll shrink down. I don't know.
If they shoot it with red.
Yeah, true. Also, the one where she uses and she shoots the big Russian guy. It's the USB arrow, which we saw in one of the Avengers movies, as well as What If. Let's see. One thing that possibly might be, and also another tie-in to Daredevil, is when they're looking through her mom's computer system. There's a name called Kemp R, which is actually one of the persons that Matt Murdock interviewed in a prison. Not to say that's the same person, but it could be a tie into that, considering they seem to be tying in a lot of things. Also, just one thing to possibly question. Do you think that the guy who's killing all the people, all the tracksuit mafias, is actually Hawkeye? Or could it be Jack Duquesne?
I think it could be someone else. I don't know.
It could
much
be
about
somebody else.
Duquesne.
But considering that Jack Duquesne was a mentor at some point, I don't know if there's going to be any kind of connection between them because we won't know until next episode. But just a thought that I saw on the internet throughout there. So also her dad has a little bit of a thing of arrows, like a sun tattoo. She has that same insignia on her jacket. And I think Kazi also has, I think he has some kind of the same thing on his hand. Also, Kazi was one of the kids that was fighting in the thing early on.
Oh, in the
when she's a little girl.
Pre-credits.
Oh no! When the fighting with the karate school or whatever. So anyway, that's just a few of the things that I came across. Oh, also you mentioned earlier the sketch of the costume is actually one of the costumes that Hawkeye wore in the comics, which they kind of made fun of.
His original costume. Oh, that's Hawkeye to me, that costume, even though in real life it'd be silly as hell.
Well, that's
and his wife would kill him.
4 out of 4 shows now on Disney Plus that's referenced the original costumes, right?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So in one way, shape, or form.
Well, I think
the X-Men movies did that.
Oh yeah, but they're not in the MCU.
Not yet.
Kind of.
Well, but I'm just saying it's been done using Marvel characters before.
Yep.
Before MCU.
And of course, you're talking about Jack Duquesne. He shows up at the very end, and he's holding Ronin's sword, right? That's Ronin's sword, right?
Which could be the possibility why his interest in the sword is if he has some kind of connection to that costume as well.
Well, he's the swordsman. He collects swords. But anyway, he's interested in all swords. It'll be. He also has one of those ridiculous costumes. I hope.
I don't.
Kate draws that one too.
The swordsman.
It has like we won't get into it, but it's funny. I think that's going to be an interesting fight because they're going to have to fight, right? Next scene.
And the whole time, Kate's going to be like, I knew it.
Well,
yeah.
It was Jack Duquesne all along.
unless they're doing a bait and switch, which they could be. Because that character,
I think there is.
That character in the comics is often on the good side and on the bad side. Could switch either way. He's kind of the more of a rogue, anti-hero kind of guy.
Well, somebody pointed out that the business that they look up on the computer system happened like right before her husband supposedly died. So
supposedly died, or was murdered,
or if he's alive and he's just hiding out.
Yeah, I still think Eleanor Bishop, Vera Farmiga, Kate's mom, has something to do with all this.
I think she's,
or she's a Skrull.
Let's not. No. That's one thing I'm not looking forward to. This whole
Skrull thing,
Skrull stuff. I'm just tired of it. Like, ooh, this is
Agatha
a Skrull.
Was a Skrull all along.
I know it's like they live MCU. It's like I don't really care. But yeah, I know. I think that she's some kind of big person, and I think she might have a run-in with Kingpin if he's like trying to control Unless she's
maybe
working for him.
Yeah, maybe she's under him. That was his hotel, right? And she was throwing that party.
Yeah.
Because my theory is she's the one that killed the
The uncle.
The number
Uncle-
3 of 7.
yeah, 3 of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that too.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so let's go back to Maya and Vanessa. I really want your opinion on Maya because we're a bunch of comic nerds and we love our heroes and villains. But from a female perspective, what'd you get from Maya?
Oh, I loved her. I love a tough girl. Whenever we get him, she reminds me so much of that feeling when we saw Gina Carano on Mandalorian, right?
Mhm.
Finally, like a big, tough, can handle herself kind of woman. And so seeing Maya in that role as Echo, like she's so graceful, but she's powerful and she's confident. And I love that it's a person who is actually hard of hearing or completely deaf. Like I'm just so impressed that she's carrying this role so well. And I love to see someone like that. We get a lot of characters driven solely by passion, blinded by passion. But I love to see someone like her because she seems like the type of person who maybe has a trouble with passion and maybe passion drives too much for her. So I'm really interested to see how this is kind of gonna ramp up as we go. Man, she kept up in that car scene too, or that car chase all the way to the
and
end.
the fight at the beginning and
Mhm.
even the interrogation, which was very interesting how Clint handled that the questions because he knows and we know, but he's not going to share that. And he's not wrong. Black Widow did put an end, didn't kill, but put an end to Ronan, right? Because it brought her back. So, but
I love that
yeah.
whole conversation. I love that she cuts his wrists so that he can sign, and he's like, "No, I don't know what I'm doing."
And of course, yeah. Maya calls BS on the whole thing. All right. Before we get into our final thoughts, favorite trick arrow, Christopher. The pin?
Well, I mean, the Pym thing, of course. I
Okay.
mean, that's because I think, yeah, because you had all these different arrows, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." The one that took all the Christmas trees and.
Well, don't give me. Everybody's
Well,
got
no,
big
I'm
ones. So.
sorry, but I'm just saying that like that one I wasn't expecting, and I think it's one of those things to where you see the head of that thing, like, oh, what is he gonna do with that one? And then when you see it, it's just like it's cheer-worthy. So I mean,
Yeah.
I can't help. To me, that's the best arrow right there.
Nice. Vanessa, favorite trick arrow?
Definitely that one. But if I had to pick a second one, it'd probably be the suction cup arrow because it really saved him in the end, right? He knew.
I
He knew when to
like
use it.
Kate's. Oh, I get it now. Slattman, do you have a favorite?
So it's really funny because number 1 and number 2 were taken already for me. I don't think the suction cup arrow is a great arrow by itself, but the writing paid
Yeah.
off
Yes,
really well
yes.
for the suction cup arrow.
Mm-hmm.
But the one with the trees and
Yeah.
the goop one was pretty good.
Group one I liked. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
take the group one if you take the trees.
Yeah.
So it's fun. And then of course, what the USB one just kind of bounces off the guy.
You don't want to know what this arrow does.
She has no idea.
This one's too dangerous and this one's too dangerous.
Although
You
I'm pretty,
got
I'm
four that
pretty
are more
su-
dangerous.
although I'm pretty sure she killed one of those guys in that truck.
If there was anybody in the back seat,
Just saying that I'm pretty sure she actually killed somebody, but we don't. Again, that's like one of those action things where you don't see them burning in their car afterwards.
not on Disney Plus.
It's
Not
like
Disney
the
Plus.
A-Team minus them crawling out afterwards.
Oh yeah. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up with our final thoughts, our score, and a favorite scene. Slattman, you are up first.
This episode was fan-freaking-tastic. Um, the I cannot state just how amazing the chemistry is between Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. Did I get that name right? Yeah, I got that name right, I think.
Yes, you
I
did.
hope I did.
You did. You did.
They bicker so well, but they also work so well together. It's almost like they've acted together before. I don't know if they actually have, but it really feels like
Ooh.
they know each other like in real life, and they can play off of each other because they know each other so well. And that it's just it's amazing watching the two of them on screen together. That kind of leads into my favorite scene. As much as I love the action in this episode, as much as I love the no look shot or the Pym arrow or just all of the trick arrows or when he shoots an arrow right by the one dude and it cuts through the tape of like as badass as he is, my favorite scene is actually the scene where he's talking to his son and
Oh, man. Very
and
good.
Kate helps him by writing down. Like, the acting in that is so well done.
Yeah, from both of them, to be honest.
Yeah, that scene is one of the most heartfelt and well acted scenes in the MCU, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And
It's difficult to do phone dialogue, right, Christopher G. Moore, right? And phone dialogue, something that gets a little wanky sometimes.
Well, it is, but again, if you throw in the aspect of his limitations and stuff, you're in his shoes in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to see how he's trying to act like everything's okay, but it's not, and you could see the anxiety in his eyes and stuff. And I think that's one of the moments. It's like, not only is it the acting, but it's how it's shot, it's the sound design, all that stuff comes together to make a very heartbreaking and heartfelt scene in that episode.
Yep. All right. Sorry about that, Slattman. Go ahead. You
It's
got a
okay.
score?
Yeah. I'm gonna give this episode a 5. It nailed it. Or arrowed it to the wall.
Yep.
Bullseye.
Bullseye.
Bullseye. It's like it got everything right. The action is amazing. The hints for the future, amazing. The cliffhanger, amazing. The script, amazing. Like, everything was just excellent. And this is what I wanted out of all of these MCU shows on Disney Plus. This is the level that I was hoping for to get out of these, and I'm so happy that we're finally getting that in such a grounded show compared to the rest of the shows, because all of the other ones are a lot more out there, a lot more fantastical, a lot more over the top. And this one, I mean, it has over the top moments, but it's really grounded in in scope and in the stakes, and it's just it's so refreshing and so great.
Perfect. Vanessa, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene.
Yeah, I totally agree. I am loving this show so much. And I kind of knew I would from the moment that, I found out it was going to be about his relationship with um the Haley Steinfeld character. Like, I knew I was going to love it. I love that it's set around Christmas time. I love that they're going like full John McClane Die Hard with Clint's
they are.
character.
Okay,
Like, yeah, he's always just so begrudgingly doing what he's doing, but he's doing it because he can. And he's the best at it. And he's gotta save all the people around him and make it home by Christmas. I love it. I love it so much. I love everything about this series. They're doing such a good job with this one. And Chris is right. I love that it feels, we've been talking about this more and more, smaller stories, more intimate, bringing it back down to more intimate stories, and it really has that feel. And there's nothing like New York at Christmas time, right? Just being there during Christmas time gives this whole vibe to it, on top of all that. Um, so yeah, I'm really, really, really enjoying it. I hate that it's gonna be so short. I hope we get another season. I did not expect a season 2 with Loki. So, anything is possible, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm holding out for that. Uh so I'll give you a score, definitely a 5. And I'd give the last two a 5 as a pair as well.
Okay.
Because that was a great opener for me to introduce the characters, to kind of get a little bit of suspense going on. But this one, lots of great scenes. I mean, we all love the car chase scene. There's the fight, Hawkeye and the KB toys, amazing. I kind of, I don't know. I really liked the Kingpin reveal. Like, that was really awesome to me. But I think I'm gonna pick as my favorite scene the KB toys fight. And when
Nice.
he ends up in the ball pit and he comes out and he hits them with the arrows and he's shooting all these people as he's going around. I loved that a lot. I loved seeing, like, just awesome in his element Clint Barton.
Yeah, and Kate gets a Black Widow-esque slide around and knock somebody over move. That was pretty awesome too. Yeah,
Right.
I really like that scene. All right, Christopher G. Moore, let us have it. Your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene.
This episode was just fun from beginning to end. It has some of the most well choreographed action and fight scenes I think I've seen in the MCU. I mean, and I think, yeah, it definitely has that John McClane vibe. Maybe they should call it Bohard,
No, they should.
No.
or not. And maybe season 2 to be Boharder. Which I think I saw a preview for, like, the next one. He said something about, it has to be Christmas, or it feels very like something John McClane would say. But yeah, I don't know. I think everything is just working right in this series, because I think you have some series, it takes a little while for it to sort of get going, or to be chemistry, and you have chemistry with these two characters right off the bat. And it feels like one of those things where you have two characters really work well together. It's like the Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and Lethal Weapon, or any of those sort of buddy cop type things where you have one person who's more, grumpy or straight laced, and the other one's more like reckless and crazy. And she's always like, oh, this is cool. Let's do this and do that. Oh, you got trick arrows? Let's use them. And it's like, I think that moment where he's like, I think the end of, like, the last episode where he's tied up and she just falls to the roof, and he's like, that feels like a moment out of one of those films. It's like, when Danny Glover's tied up, oh, he's ninja, and then Mel Gibson drops down or something. So I love it. I love we have all these different characters that they're having to go against that feel very, there's just a sense of humor about them. I mean, these Russian tracksuit guys, they still feel very Tim Burton-esque to me, but it feels really, I don't know. I love that because it's not, sure, we have these sort of serious elements of just, like, characters and dealing with not being able to hear, or growing up a certain way, or, the issue, all that kind of stuff, or there is a heart to this episode, but it's not trying to, like, sell some huge message other than family and that kind of thing. It's very simplistic in that, and I like that. And I hope that if they create more series, just make these simple type things about simple stories, fighting just simple evils in the city. And this was just so much fun. And there's Bert and Bertie, who my two new favorite Muppets now. My two new favorite directors are actually from Britain.
Oh wow!
I want to see more stuff from these two ladies. They I mean, there is a sense of style to this that feels effortless. I mean, because if you're trying to rip off, Children of Men, which is one of the most iconic scenes in film history, they kind of upped the game on that, I believe. I mean, that scene is, I mean, and that's, of course, Children of Men was much more serious. This is actually kind of fun, I mean, it's kind of funny how when they get bumped, the music changes. It's more, it's much more, because they're having all these cars chasing around them. It's like, but you see everything that's happening as the camera pans around. So to have to choreograph that and orchestrate it just perfectly to where there's, like, There's the action part of it. Oh my gosh, how are they going to get out of this? They're going to have to drive backwards, all this stuff. I don't know. There's just so much fun in this episode from beginning to end that shows that there's a passion, there's a love for telling this story. And it's not one of these things where just like, we need to do this to create stuff we can sell on Amazon. That this is all about just having fun with these characters, and the dialogue, all that stuff works well. So I'm going to shut up talking about it because I could talk about this episode all day. I love this episode. I mean, I love the first 2 episodes, and I don't feel like they're up to this level of this. This just hits it home. I mean, this gets 5 arrows out of 5 arrows for me. It's 5 trick arrows at that. I mean, not regular arrows, but trick arrows. This basically shot a Pym arrow into this series and made this episode as big as possible. I gotta do the cars chase. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I literally was smiling from ear to ear during that scene because I mean that just takes such a level of you just have to map everything out to make that look perfectly, whether it's the way the cars are moving, the way the people are interacting inside the car, and for it to be done as one long camera shot. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. And I was like, the whole time I'm like, I don't really see the seams of what's happening here. I love this because I felt like I was in the middle of it. I almost wish they make that VR so I could just sit in the car and see what's happening. So yeah, I can't. Yeah, I have to say that's probably my. But again, I could have easily picked the fight scene or some of the more tender moments, like the father-daughter scene, or even
don't take my choices.
I'm just saying there's so many other things I could have picked. So, but anyway, the car chase, that's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep this quick because we've already recorded this longer than the episode was. This is a 5. It's action and everything. The dialogue is also on point. It is some of the best dialogue throughout the Marvel universe. It's just great, and that's the moments I'm going to pick. And there's 2 of them. There's one in the diner that I really like between them, and then my favorite one is the one on the train after the chase, and they repeat their dialogue because Clint can't hear out of that ear, and I just it shows their characters in a really interesting way, and they both end up caring about Pizza Dog, right? So I loved it, so we'll go with that.
Pizza Dog.
Yeah, Pizza
Speaking of Pizza Dog, the Funko Pop for Pizza Dog is called Lucky the Pizza Dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they are gonna stay true to the comic.
Call him Lucky eventually.
I'll name him later.
All right. Well, we can't wait for it. We're halfway through. We only have 3 more episodes, but we can't wait for them. Vanessa, Slattman, Christopher, thank you for joining me. So much fun.
Yes.
So much fun.
As fun as a Pym arrow to another arrow.
Oh, wow. Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.